whenever we take precepts, at the end, a monk reminds the devotees, Appamadena Sampadeta. Just now, I recited. Why do we recite Appamadena Sampadeta? Because when the Buddha was alive, he reminded the bhikkhus, Appamadena Sampadeta. Be mindful on the 5 aggregates. Don't forget. Our Buddha had great compassion to the beings. He was so concerned about the beings not to be reborn in the netherworld. When we study the history of the Buddha, we understand when he met Dipankara Buddha as a Sumita ascetic, the Dipankara Buddha confirmed Sumita ascetic who be the Buddha in future. So since then, even though he had the chance to attain enlightenment, he gave up. Then he practiced perfections. So he became the Buddha at our time. Then he reminded us to be mindful on the 5 aggregates as our devotees practice now. Why he reminded us to be mindful on the 5 aggregates? He said, Bodho Bado Donglabo Lokasame. Bodho Bado Donglabo Lokasame. It is a rare opportunity to have a Buddha in the world. That is why he reminded us to be mindful, Appamadena Sampadeta. We understand to be a Buddha, it's not easy. A person who wants to be a Buddha must practice parami, 10 paramis, perfections, Dana Barami, Sila Barami, Nikama Barami, Panya Barami, and so on. The perfection of charity, the perfection of morality, the perfection of renunciation, the perfection of wisdom, the perfection of the truth, the perfection of the loving kindness, 10 kinds of paramis. Not only one lifetimes, many lifetimes, aeons and aeons of lifetimes, must practice perfections. So our Buddha practiced 10 perfections. When his parami ripened, he was born as a Sayadaw prince. Then he married to his cousin sister, as you know, Yasodhara, the beautiful lady in the country. Then when he was 29, he renounced the world, practiced meditation in Uruvela forest for 6 years. 6 years. He could not get concentration because later he thought to himself, his practice was not correct practice. That's why correct practice is so important. He could not gain concentration. Eventually he changed his method. Then he attained enlightenment, became the omniscient Buddha. That's why the Buddha taught us, Bodho Bado Donlabo Lokasamay Manosata Bao Donlabo. It is a rare opportunity to be a human being. To be a human being is also not easy. We may think there are so many populations in the world, but compared to animals, our human beings are not so many. That's why the Buddha taught, Manosata Bhavo Donlabo. Even though it is a rare opportunity to have a Buddha in the world, but we are fortunate to have a Buddha in the world. Even though the Buddha was not alive, but we can still practice his teachings. A single of teachings doesn't miss yet. We can practice all the teachings if we wish. It is a rare opportunity to have a human being. Even though it is a rare opportunity, we are fortunate at the moment. We are human beings. Donlabha Saddha Sampatti. Donlabha Saddha Sampatti. It is rare to find people who have faith in the Buddha, in the Dhamma and his teachings and his noble disciples. But we have faith in the Buddha and in the teachings of the Buddha and his noble disciples. We have faith with our practice. Actually, we have to understand we do not have faith immediately. We have confidence. How do we have confidence? With practice. Our yogis here practice vipassana meditation. You may not have faith at the beginning because you haven't experienced anything yet. When you follow the instructions strictly, you are able to note the present object, let's say the rising and falling of the abdomen. You could keep the mind on the abdomen, then you are able to note the rising and falling closely. You could see the movement. Movement is the air element. Sometimes you might experience hardness, softness, stiffness, cold or heat, cohesion or liquidity. So when you notice it, you understand as it is really is. Oh, I have experienced what the Buddha taught is true. There are no person, no entity, nobody creates to be a human being, only mind and matter. In this way, you have confidence. So I would say, confidence comes first. Because of the confidence, then you trust what the Buddha taught. you believe what the Buddha taught, you trust what the Buddha taught. So you have faith. So, Donglaba Saddha Sampati. So we are fortunate to have faith or confidence in the Buddha, in the Dhamma, in the Sangha. Papajita Bhao Donglabo. It is a rare opportunity to renounce the world. We monks and nuns renounce the world. How can you renounce the world at the moment you are here to practice vipassana meditation? When you practice meditation, you have to leave your family behind, your jobs behind. If you do not leave the things in your family, you cannot be here. So you renounce temporarily for the practice. So our yogis also renounce temporarily, I would say. So you are fortunate to renounce the world for the practice. For the practice. Saddhamma Sawana Ati Donglaba. Saddhamma Sawana Ati Donglaba. It is most of all rare opportunity to hear the Dhamma. To hear the Dhamma. It is the most rare opportunity to hear the Dhamma. Saddhamma Sawana Ati Donglaba. Even though it is a most rare opportunity to hear the Dhamma, our yogis and devotees here are so fortunate to have the chance to practice meditation, to listen to Dhamma talk more often. I would say our yogis, practitioners, are very lucky. Why our yogis are lucky? You have Sayadaws here who can teach meditation, who can teach pariyatti and patipatti. That's why I would say our yogis are here very fortunate. Fortunate. You have Kalyana Maitas here. So before I want to explain about the postures, I just realize Appamadena Sampadeta. Every day we recite end of the taking precepts Appamadena Sampadeta. You may want to know what does it mean. Appamadena Sampadeta. Don't forget your practice, contemplation of the body, contemplation of the feelings, contemplation of consciousness, and contemplation of the Dhamma, the four foundations of mindfulness. In other words, don't forget to practice the 5 aggregates. 5 aggregates. Now I would like to continue our daily practice. Today I would like to explain about the postures. In the Satipatthana Sutta, it is said, Punaja Param Bhikkhave Bhikkhu Gacchantova Gacchantva Miti Pajanati Titova Tito Miti Pajanati Nisaynova Nisayno Miti Pajanati Sayanova Sayano Miti Pajanati. In the Satipatthana Sutta, the Buddha taught us, according to this instruction, we yogis practice walking meditation. Again, bhikkhus, when yogis are walking, he or she knows I am walking. When a yogi is sitting, standing, he knows he is standing. When he is sitting, he or she knows I am sitting. When he is lying down, the yogi knows I am lying down. The instruction is very simple. Very simple. We know means we must note, or we must observe. We must take note of it. According to this instruction, we practice. Instruction is very easy. Practice is very difficult. Because we are working with the mind. As you know, the mind is so quick and so fast. Not easy to not easy to time with the object. Not easy. You understand. You know, is it easy or difficult? When we practice walking meditation, we can choose the place where we like to practice. Before we start walking, we have to keep our body properly as we practice sitting meditation. When we practice sitting meditation, we have to cross legs, sit comfortably, keep the upper body upright, not too rigid way, comfortably. When we practice walking meditation, we have to keep our body straight. We should not bend our head too low. When we keep our head too low, we would have headache. That's why keep the upper body, keep the body and head straight, but keep the eyes down. Don't look at it very far. Don't look at it very close. Just keep the eyes down. When we keep our eyes down, we would see about 4 or 5 feet distance. We do not know who are they passing by. We should keep our eyes down. Always don't look at anywhere. Then keep the mind on the foot, not on the abdomen. I remind you, because some yogis, they made mistake. When they are walking, instead of noting right step, left step, they note rising and falling. When you practice walking meditation, you don't need to watch your abdomen, but your foot. Then you should start one step noting, right step, left step. You can keep your hand at the back or at the front. You can fold it, but should not swing your hand. Then note one step, right step, left step. Say right step, left step mentally. Do not say or do not note right foot or left foot. Don't say foot. Just say right step, left step. When you note right step, left step, you can note the mind synchronize with the footstep. Then you can notice something easily. Do not say right, left. When you say right, left, the noting is very short, very fast, but your foot activity still going on. So in this way, you cannot catch the present moment. Present moment. That's why I would like to remind yogis Do not say right foot, left foot. Do not say right, left. Right, left. How would you note right step, left step? Every step. You should note one step. In this way, you can note closely, trying to follow the movement closely. Do not walk very far, about 10 or 15 feet distance, back and forth. When you reach at the end, you have to stop walking. When you stop walking, do note standing, not stopping. Do note standing. When you note standing, you have to be aware of standing posture, not just simply noting standing. You note standing, but the mind goes somewhere. In this way, you cannot concentrate. So when you are noting standing, you have to be aware of standing posture. So that you would notice something. Do not search for anything. Do not expect anything. Just note standing. Then you would notice maybe stiffness in the body, maybe softness in the body, maybe hardness in the soul or softness in the soul. You might be aware of it. Then you have to turn. When you turn, you have to note. Turn slowly and mindfully. Take your time, not in a hurry. You are spending your time with mindfulness. You do not waste your time. That's why take your time, not in a hurry. Turning. Take your time slowly, turning slowly and mindfully. So in this way, you will be able to note 5 or 6 times until you reach your walkway. You face your walkway. After that, note again, standing, mindfully. Then continued, right step, left step, right step, left step, mindfully. On the way, when the thoughts take your mind away, you have to note thinking. You have to stop walking, then note thinking. You don't have to note while you are walking when the thoughts take away your mind, thinking. You should not do things at the same time. So if you want to note thinking, you have to stop walking. Note thinking. Then when the thoughts disappear, continue right step, left step. But sometimes thought doesn't take for a long time, just short while. You know, you can catch it immediately. If so, you should pay more close attention to your footstep. You should not note the thinking. Pay more close attention, because when you note thinking, because at the moment, all the times thinking, as you know the rising falling, just a few times, then the mind goes away. Then come back to the rising and falling. Here also, when you practice walking meditation, a few steps noting, after a few steps noting, the mind goes away. When your mindfulness is not strong enough. So just short thinking, I would say pay close attention to the footstep, note it closely, and this way the thoughts won't come so easily. When the thoughts take quite a long time, should stop, then note thinking. Then when the thoughts disappear, continue your practice. Right step, left step. So when you are able to note one step, noting, you may have intention to continue 2 steps, noting, lifting your foot, then putting down. 2 steps, noting. If you could not note one step closely without thinking much, if you continue 2 steps, you may not be mindful on it. You may not be able to note it because you cannot note the one step quite well. So do note one step until you can manage to note. Then you would feel noting every step closely. You would proceed another step, 2 steps. Then note 2 steps, lifting, putting down, or placing. When you note lifting your foot, not lifting the foot, just note lifting, you should not raise your foot too high. Just you feel the raising or lifting your foot. Should not raise your foot too high. Then note lifting. Then note placing. Before your soul touch on the ground, you should not lift the other side of leg. When the stepping foot touch on the ground, then you can raise the other side. In this way, you can practice lifting, placing, lifting, placing. So when you are able to note 2 steps, your mindfulness is quite good. Your concentration is quite good. You might be aware of intention. Before you lift your foot, you may have intention because your mindfulness is quite strong. But yogis here, they note intention, intending to lift, intending to lift, intending to lift, then lifting. Then note placing. Not necessary to note intention, just go ahead, noting, placing. 2 steps, noting. Then if you are that standing and turning is the same, then 3 steps, noting, lifting, pushing forward, placing. 3 steps, noting. If you can note 3 steps, your mindfulness is very good. Without having strong mindfulness, you cannot follow 3 steps closely. So you have to be very careful. In this way, we have to practice walking meditation. If you do not pay close attention to the foot, even though you say right step, left step, your mind goes away, goes somewhere thinking other things. You may feel you know nothing, something like soldiers marching. When the soldiers march, they say right, left, very synchronized again. But their mind always goes somewhere. Their mind doesn't go to the foot. So because they are not mindful, our yogis are not like that. When we walk, we are very mindful. Right step, left step. Lifting, placing. Lifting, pushing forward, placing. What should we notice in the walking? What should we understand in the walking? Do we report our experience to the teacher? What we notice? As I said, appearing, noting, and noticing. When we report our experience to the teachers, we should describe something, what we understand, what we notice. I practice walking meditation, 1 step, right step, left step. My mind could follow it. But I noticed this and that. We should report, we should tell something. So when our mind could follow the footstep closely in one step, at least we can notice there is motion, the foot is moving, at least we can notice. What do you notice in the walking? You should describe. If you are careful, if you note it closely, you would tell something. If you could not tell something, that means your mindfulness not strong enough yet. You do not note carefully. That's why do not look at anywhere, just pay close attention to the foot, note it closely. Don't search for anything, don't expect anything. What should I see in the walking? I can't see anything. Only walking, you may think, then you may be discouraged. At least we can notice there is motion, moving the foot. Oh, this is a noticing. Then when the foot touches down on the ground, we may feel there is hardness, there is softness, something we may notice. Not all the times soft and hard. Not all the time. The more we are mindful, the more we can see the things clearly, the more we can notice clearly. That's why we have to practice respectfully. Respectfully. Then if you could mention roughly, I could notice there is motion, or hardness, or softness, that's good enough. Then you proceed. 2 steps noting. Lifting, placing, lifting, placing. Your mindfulness is better than noting the 1 step. You can note in detail. When you note lifting, placing, what do you notice? You may notice there is lightness when you note lifting. When you note placing, you may feel heavy. When you drop your foot, you may feel heaviness. Then when the soul touches on the ground, hardness, maybe softness, you would notice. So this is a noticing. Noticing. When you note 3 steps, the same thing, the lightness, the swinging or the motion, the heaviness, these are the noticing experiences. So we can compare with the non-practitioners. It's different. Every day we walk. We cannot sit all the time. Do we know there is motion in the walking? Do we know there is softness or hardness in the soul? If we do not practice meditation, we do not know. Sometimes we may know there is softness, there is hardness. If we step on the stones, oh, there is softness, my soul is so painful, we may think, but sometimes. But we say, my soul, so painful, my leg is so tired. We do not remove the concept. Always mention I. But we yogis, we practice walking meditation mindfully. At the beginning, we may not remove I or concept. When our mindfulness getting better and better, we may not see the foot. We may not see our foot, but only the motion and noting. Motion, the noting. So in this way, we can remove the concept. Not I am walking. Only noting and footstep. or noting in hardness, noticing hardness or softness or motion. These are the noticing. So in this way, we can remove the concept. Non-practitioners, when they walk, they are not aware there is motion, there is intention, they are not aware of. Whereas our practitioners, when the mindfulness is strong enough, can notice there is intention. Intention. This intention is the successive intention. Because of the successive intention, the successive motion appears with strong concentration, strong mindfulness. You can see, if we haven't developed concentration or mindfulness, if our mindfulness is not sufficient enough yet, we cannot see intention or successive intention or successive movement. But that's why we are always reminded, be mindful, be mindful, be mindful all the times. Why we are reminded to be mindful all the times? Because it is so important to understand these true natures in the walking. So if you really want to understand, or if you really want to notice, try to be mindful each and every moment. Each and every moment. As the Buddha taught in the Satipatthana Sutta, I always tell, 3 things are so important if we really want to improve our meditation. Atapa, putting forth effort, the mental energy or determination. Then willingness. We should have willingness. We must have willingness. Without willingness, our energy will be so strong. Oh, during the practice, I must understand something. Then I will do it. What the Buddha taught. Then have to be mindful, moment to moment, satima. Atapi sampajano satima. If we put forth effort, strenuous effort, if we are mindful each and every moment with willingness, sampajana, we will understand clearly as they really are. That's why try to be mindful each and every moment. Each and every moment. So you follow the instructions strictly, right step, left step, and so on. Then you would notice. Just now I said, swinging or motion. Swinging or motion is the air element. You don't need to mention this is the air element. When you are walking, oh, this is the air element swinging. The hardness is the earth element. The hotness is the fire element. You don't need to mention. You don't need to check what you have studied. Just bear mindfulness. But you have experienced with your own practice. Or you have experienced motion, you notice it. Swinging. Even though you do not mention this is air, but you have experienced. This is your true experience. Because you are so mindful when you are walking meditation. Then, when the foot touch on the ground, you notice or you feel hardness, softness, or this is the earth element. Earth element. Sometimes hot or cold, or this is the fire element. Sometimes when the weather is very hot, you may feel on your soul the sticky or cohesion because the sweat on the foot. Or abodhatu, water element. So if you experience it, where is the person? In the walking? Any person in the walking? No person. Who create to appear this right step, left step? Nobody create. Any spirit in the walking? No spirit in the footstep. You would accept, you would notice. Then you have faith, or you have confidence. Confidence comes first, then faith. I have experienced these elements. The Buddha also taught us only elements, 4 elements. No person, no entity, no creator. Oh, I have experienced with my own practice. In this way you have confidence. You have understood. You have experienced these elements. Also you have noticed intention. Because of the intention you lived, because of the intention you walk, because of the intention you drop it or place it, because of the intention you get up, because of the intention you sit down, because of the intention you bend, because of the intention you stretch. So if you understand one thing, you understand everything, the same thing. You are noting in the walking meditation, when you really understand clearly, other things are the same. When you sit down, why you sit down? Because you want to sit down. Why you want to sit down? Because you have the intention to sit down. Why am I speaking now? Because I want to speak. I have the intention to speak. I want the yogis to understand clearly, so I have the intention to speak, so I speak. So yogis, when they are mindful on the walking meditation, they notice intention rising one another. They are not permanent, they also rises, then they disappeared. The movement also arises, then disappeared. In this way, you notice what the impermanent or changing every moment. Noting in this way, because whenever you practice walking meditation, the steps appear one another. So noting in this way, walking meditation, right step, left step, lifting, placing, lifting, pushing forward, so placing, you might feel when you are walking so much suffering because they appear one step another. That's why I'm noting. If they do not appear, I don't need to note. In this way, you would feel the unsatisfactory. In this way, you would notice there is no entity, no spirit, no soul. But we must remember, we must develop our mindfulness. Without strong mindfulness, efficient mindfulness, we may not notice. You may say, Sayadaw, I haven't noticed anything yet. Well, are you sure? You are saying now, impermanent, changing all the time. You have to try yourself. If you really want to know, if you really want to notice, try to be mindful yourself. Sometimes, we are walking, but our minds our minds goes somewhere. We do not pay attention to our practice, to our foot. We may say right step, left step, like as soldiers. Our mind goes away. If our mind goes away all the time, we do not notice anything. That's why I have to remind the yogis, try to be mindful all the times. We cannot be mindful all the times at the moment. The mind is so quick and so fast, but we must try. If we try, one day we can be able to be mindful for some time. Then we will notice. It is very important to practice walking meditation. Not all the times sitting meditation. We must be in balance. Sitting meditation and walking meditation. Walking meditation for 1 hour, sitting meditation for 1 hour. We have to practice. There are 5 benefits when we practice walking meditation. We can walk long distances if we practice walking meditation. Everybody knows the walking exercise is very important. That's why in the park, on the road, people practice early in the morning, they walk. But just for health purpose. But our yogis here practice walking meditation mindfully, move slowly. You may be afraid, not enough exercise. Not enough exercise. I must practice some other things. I believe our yogis here do not practice yoga. They practice only vipassana meditation. But my place in Australia, yogis sometimes they practice in the evening yoga. I have to remind them, do not practice yoga. Yoga is not a meditation. Practice walking meditation. Walking meditation is enough for the yogis, for the health. Because we move with the mindfulness. At the beginning of the walking, you can walk a bit faster. Walking, or stepping for a few minutes, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. The first quick walking, or stepping. After about 15 minutes, slow down. Then do practice accordingly, 1, 2, 3 steps. It's enough. But you should walk for 1 hour. If you sit for 1 hour, you should walk for 1 hour. If you sit for 2 hours, you should walk about 2 hours. Must practice walking meditation. We should not be lazy. So in this way, your body home is so stiff, so tight. But you walk with mindfulness, quite relaxed. Then your body becomes quite light and fresh. Don't worry about your health. Don't worry about your health. You must walk, but do not practice yoga. If you practice yoga, you are not mindful. Also very difficult position. Must walk. Must practice walking meditation. While I'm talking, a memory arises in my mind. When I was in Burma at Mahasi Meditation Centre, one day my teacher went to somewhere, Sayadaw U Pannathami. He asked me to interview on his behalf. So at that time, Sayadaw interviewed many yogis. So I interviewed a yogi. When he entered the room, I noticed he was not normal. He was not normal. So I reminded him, be mindful, yogi, be mindful when you enter. Then he told me, he pointed at me, then you mindful, you mindful. So when he sat down, he didn't sit down properly. I told him, sit down mindfully. Then he also told me, you sit down mindfully. So he was something wrong, I thought. So I did not interview him. I requested Nayaga Sayadaw to interview him, but he also didn't want to interview him. In short, he was sent to mental hospital. After about 3 months, he came back. He asked forgiveness to our Sayadaw, because during the December holiday, he practiced meditation very hard. He is very good meditator, but sit all the time. He didn't practice walking meditation. When the nature called him, he didn't go. He thought, during 2 weeks, I have to gain something. I will try to practice meditation. So he practiced so hard, but just sitting meditation. He didn't want to practice walking meditation. That's why he goes something wrong. So we must practice walking meditation. Do not sit all the time. Do walking meditation and sitting meditation should be in balance. So when you practice walking meditation, you can go long distances. Then you can maintain your health, or you can maintain your energy. When you practice walking meditation, you will have strength. Then whatever you eat can be digested easily. You won't have many diseases. Then you can maintain your concentration for quite a long time. That's why we should practice walking meditation. When you practice walking meditation, you have to pay close attention to your practice. Then you can notice the things, 4 elements or 5 aggregates. You can notice. Then intention. Note intention. I have told the yogis, if you want to note intention, before you lift your foot, you can do so. Note intending to lift, lifting. After noting lifting, go ahead, pushing forward. Do not note intention again. Note pushing forward. Then go ahead, placing down. Some yogis, they note intending to lift, lifting, intending to push, pushing, intending to drop, or intending to place, placing. So many intentions. I think it's not necessary to note intentions all the time. So just note before you lift your foot. Before you move your hand, you can note intention. Intending to move, then moving. So in this way, when the mindfulness is efficient enough, strong enough, while you are noting closely, you are aware of the intention, the successive intention. Because of the successive intention, the successive movement occurs. You will notice with your own practice. Own practice. Don't take it by word. You have to check yourself with your practice. Is it true or not? True or not? So, in this way we can practice walking meditation. When you understand walking meditation, kachanto wa, kachanto miti pajanati, when you are going, you know you are going. So when you are standing, you know you are standing. So you know standing, standing, standing. Then when you are sitting, you know you are sitting. When you are lying down, also you have to note lying down, lying down, lying down. So according to the instruction, we can practice all the postures. All the postures. Standing meditation, sitting meditation, lying down meditation. If you lie down, you can fall asleep easily. You can fall asleep easily. That's why, even though the Buddha taught us the 4 postures, if our mindfulness is not strong enough, if our concentration is not strong enough, it's not advisable to practice the lying down meditation. But when you go back to your bedroom, before you go back, you can, while you are lying down on the bed, you can note lying down, lying down, lying down. But not attentively. If you are going to sleep, if you note attentively, your mind is very alert, then you won't fall asleep easily. But mostly, if we note rising, falling, lying, or touching, we can fall asleep easily. So these are the postures the Buddha taught us. I would say again in Pali, Kachanto wa, kachanto miti pajanati. Tito wa, tito miti pajanati. Niseino wa, niseino miti pajanati. Siano wa, siano miti pajanati. So we have to understand and we practice according to this instruction. So I will stop here for tonight. May you be well and happy. May you be able to practice meditation ardently and energetically. Then may you understand the dhamma clearly.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.